Yay, we are up and running. Phew, thank you so much to those of you who registered for bearing with me through these technical difficulties. Gotta love technology, right? We love it when it works and then it doesn't and then drives us nuts because we came to depend on it. So, thank you, thank you. So glad you are bearing with me. For those of you all of you watching the recording. Normally, I would say thank you to those of you here and those of you watching, but you're all watching the recording. So thank you for watching the recording, whether you registered ahead of time and had to live with the recording or whether you just stumbled your way onto the recording another way. I am grateful that you are here learning about how to boost your authority with backlinks. Without further ado, before technology decides to poop out on me again, let's dive right into it. So, who am I? Why should you listen to anything that I have to say? I am Allison Verhalen, content marketer, CEO, and founder of AV Writing Services. I got my start actually by blogging. Never thought that I would find my way into SEO. Was too intimidated by SEO to even consider it. Fortunately, managed to stumble my way into it anyway, and actually found that it is fascinating. And I love figuring out how people find the information they're looking for, the ways they go about looking for information, and then, of course, all the ways that Google tries to figure out what people are looking for, what content is answering those questions, and whether or not to trust that content. And yes, there is a ton of misinformation out there. Google does its best. We do our best. So backlinks are a super important part of that. So with that said, we're going to get straight into backlinks. What are they? If you are just now joining me and you're like, wait, what is this? Why do I care? I know I've heard something about backlinks, but I'm still fuzzy on what exactly that means. So when you're on the internet and you're reading a piece of content and a part of the content, the text is highlighted and you click on it and it takes you to another web page, that's a backlink. So there are internal and then there are external backlinks. So internal backlink is when you embed a link in one piece of your content on your website that leads to another piece of content on your own website. So it's going from different pieces of content, different pages within the same website. That is an internal backlink. External backlink, I'll scooch over so you can see my whole heading there. External backlink is when another website links in their content to a page on your website. So they both do count towards SEO. Google does like to see both of them. And internal backlinks are a great way to drive traffic to a really, really long, in-depth piece of content that you're really trying to boost on your website. But it's like talking about yourself and being like, look at what an authority I am. I don't know about you. I know I have been to websites where I try clicking on these links, and every single link it provided in their content is an internal backlink. It leads to another piece of content on their own website. That does not look very authoritative. What I want to see is, do you know where else to get this information? Are there any outside sources you are using, or are you just pulling all of this out of thin air? So using external backlinks in your own content is a great way to get more backlinks, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, but it's also a great way to earn Google's trust as well as the real life people who find your content, because getting those external backlinks from high quality sources is a great way to indicate that you're one of the cool kids, right? Because other people are using you as a source, and if Google likes the people that are using you as a resource, you must be a valid resource. You must really know what you're talking about. So you do need those external backlinks. Great. How do we go about getting those external backlinks? I'm so glad you asked. Linkable assets. A give essentially comes down to give people a reason to provide a link to your website, right? It has to provide value of some sort. And this is where content marketing comes in, right? Because you have to have the content that is valuable that people want to link to. So blog posts, obviously, big fan of blog posts. Always, always include blog posts. Original research. I, for example, always link to Andy Crestodina stuff because he surveys a whole bunch of bloggers, more than 1,000 bloggers. He does it once a year, every year. And I participate in his survey, but then I also look at the results that he gets from all of the those of us he surveyed. And I link to it because I go, look, here's what's working, here's what's not. I'm not pulling this out of thin air. Here's the research. You can see it right over here. So if you are doing your own research, that is linkable asset gold. Same with webinars, right? It's really easy when someone has a question about something, especially if they're like, oh, I know something about backlinks or SEO, but I don't really know what it is or why I should care or what it all means, right? Oh, well, I just happen to have a webinar on that. You can go over here to watch that recording and, let me know if you have any questions. Online courses are also great for this. Books, book, as well as workbooks and journals. Courses, books are great ways to set you up as an authority in your industry. If you are teaching a course about something, you must really know what you're talking about. If you have a whole book on a subject, what is more authoritative than getting to say, look, I literally wrote the book on the subject, right? Infographics, podcasts, apps, tools, and calculators. If you get an award, that's great. Linkable asset, PDFs, contests, reviews, and user-generated content. That is when, for example, a guest blog post, that is when someone else creates content that you then put up on your website. And they can give you a link. So that is a great linkable asset. So you've got all these linkable assets. How do you get backlinks to them? So start with having a good linkable asset, right? Be a podcast guest. So one great way to build backlinks used to be guest blogging. You would blog on someone, you would write a blog post for someone else's website, and you would get that backlink in the little byline. It would link back to your website. You would get a backlink. Yay! Google, for some reason, decided it didn't like that tactic. I don't know why. I think it's not like a cheap black hat tactic, right? Like you're putting time and effort into creating these blog posts and again, demonstrating your expertise and your authority. And yet for some reason, Google said, no, we don't like that. So I do still recommend guest blogging as a way to get your name out there. It's just not going to be a great way to actually make sure that get the SEO juice from there. But being a guest on a podcast, you usually get a link to your website in the show notes. And as far as I know, Google doesn't have a problem with that yet. So that is another great way to get those linkable assets, as well as getting real life people who are listening to the podcast, who are reading the show notes, want to know more about you. They can click over to your website and actually find out more information about you. Same with the guest blogs, right? You can have those links in there. It's still, you have the little no follow tag in there, which is just a way of telling Google, don't follow this. It doesn't count towards SEO, but it still works. So people who are reading that guest blog post and want to know more about you can still click through to your website. So I do still, that's one of the reasons I still recommend guest blogging, as well as being a podcast guest. Podcast guesting is great for SEO. Writing guest blogging is a great way to get your name out there and build your audience. It's just not good for SEO for some reason. Online forums, things like Quora and Reddit, and those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head, right? People are asking questions on those sites all the time. They want to know answers to the questions they are asking, and sometimes they go straight to Google, and sometimes they go to an online forum. So be present on those online forums. Say, oh, hey, yeah, that's a great question. Actually, I wrote a whole blog post about that. It's right over here. Now you're providing value because you're answering their question. You're not just putting your link in there for the sake of putting your link in there. It's actually relevant to the topic. So you're naturally going to get organic traffic that way, as well as building that backlink. Events are a great way to get more backlinks. Let people know that you're having an event. People love sharing the events of people in their network, especially if they're attending an event. Ask them to share that link. Say, hey, I'm attending this event. You want to come with me? As well as calendars. If it's an in-person event, it doesn't have to be an in-person event. It helps if it's an in-person event. There are a whole bunch of local calendars where you can post that event for free, and that'll get you a backlink to your website. Social media, great for SEO, high domain authority. Google loves those sites. And all of that stuff ranks really highly. So use social media strategically as part of your SEO strategy, including getting backlinks. Don't use backlinks, don't flood your social media posts with a ton of links because that's not going to work. But every third or fifth post or so, have a link back to your website. Ask nicely. sometimes it really is, that's all it takes, right? Just reach out to someone, an influencer, someone in your industry or in a related industry, say, hey, I happen to have written this blog post. You might want to look about such and such. I know it's relevant to this other topic you covered. Maybe you want to include a backlink to my article in your blog post. Easy peasy. And then give to get. Offer to, give backlinks to other people in exchange for backlinks. I don't recommend that you include backlinks in your content solely so that you get backlinks from them. Google, first of all, will take note of that. Google will notice, see, I see a lot of backlinks going back and forth here. This looks a little suspicious. Google is getting smarter and smarter about those things. So it will take note and that can backfire. So those should not be the only backlinks that you include. And you should only include a backlink in your content when it makes sense to do so. It should be relevant. It should in some way position you as an authority in your industry because you're demonstrating that you know where to get information on this topic. So it should still provide value to your audience. And then as a little bonus, maybe the author of that piece of content, that blog post, that article will be willing to include a backlink to your website in their content. How to find opportunities for backlinks. How, if you don't have people in your network, start with people in your network, right? Hopefully you have power partners either in your industry and or in related industries, which is ideal. There's this whole, I'll get into that later. In the meantime, let's talk about some searches you can do. So when you see the brackets here, that's going to be your market. So like SEO, right? SEO community, or look for in title SEO forum, blogs, answers, blah, 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 blah. That's how you find niche forums and social networks where people are hanging out talking about this particular topic. Professional associations, also great speaking opportunities if you're a speaker, right? So look for, SEO as an example, SEO Association, SEO Associated, SEO of America, that kind of thing. And then resources, your roundup articles, your resource articles. And then one of my other favorite things is to check another website and their pages for their backlinks. So if you have a competitor in your industry and they covered a blog post that, covers the same topic or a similar topic, see what backlinks that website got. You can do that using an SEO tool and say, what backlinks is this one getting? And then you can reach out to those industries, those websites and say, hey, I noticed you gave a backlink to this on this article. Maybe I just happen to have written another blog post on the same topic or a related topic. Maybe you want to include a backlink to that article as well in your content. That is a great way to get backlinks. I also recently saw something, someone was saying they basically snatched up a bunch of backlinks that after someone rebranded, right? So it was, I think it was SEO Moz or Moz SEO or something like that, rebranded to just Moz, which meant that their URL changed from one to just Moz.com, MOZ.com. And apparently they didn't do a 404 redirect. They just left all those URLs out there, which meant a bunch of people who had given backlinks to this giant in the industry, suddenly all those links were broken. So this one guy went around and figured out who all had those broken links and said, hey, I noticed you linked to this article. That's dead. Do you maybe want to link to my article over here where I wrote about this? That is an excellent way to get people to give you a backlink because they have a problem now. They have this broken link that doesn't look great for their SEO. It doesn't improve their the quality of their user experience on their website. So you can point that out to them and then at the same time offer them a solution. That is an excellent way to get on their good side and get a backlink, a high quality backlink. Things to be aware of. Guest blogging, I mentioned that already. Used to work. I do still recommend guest blogging. It's just not the SEO gold that it used to be. Sponsored links. This is like an affiliate link, for example. I have an affiliate link that I always put this little tag in there saying this is sponsored. I get paid for this link. So that does not count towards your SEO. That's a way of Google knowing, okay, this is an affiliate. we're not counting this. If you have an affiliate link and you don't code it, if you don't have that little tag in the link that says that it's sponsored, that could work against you. So be careful. Make sure those affiliate links are properly tagged. Buying links, don't do it. Just don't do it. What happens is you get a bunch of people who will sell you a link and say, oh, I can get you a whole bunch of links. You'll get all these backlinks. It'll be awesome for your SEO. What ends up happening is, yes, you get a bunch of backlinks. They are indiscriminate. May or may not have anything to do with your industry. They may or may not be quality websites, which means Google is not going to like it. You're going to end up relegated to the troublemaker group because Google goes, well, all of these low quality websites are providing backlinks to your site, so your site must also be low quality. So do not buy backlinks. Just don't do it. Stay away from it. One thing you can do, I'm going to go back actually to talk about buying backlinks. So don't buy them in bulk. And I still don't recommend buying them from individual webmasters, right? You can reach out to someone that you really want a backlink from and say, hey, I'll sweeten the deal a little bit and give you this backlink right here. And give you a little bit of money here if you give me a backlink. I mean, it's not illegal. It is something you kind of got to do in the shadows, so to speak. And just because Google really does not like it, that can get you blacklisted. If the person you're reaching out to decides to report you, you can get in a lot of trouble with Google. Again, legally, no one cares, but you could get blacklisted. So that could backfire against you in a big way. And you always run the risk that someone will take your money and either not give you a backlink, or they'll put up the backlink and leave it up for a few weeks or maybe a month or two and then take it down. And there's nothing you can do because you weren't supposed to be doing it in the first place. So even though what you were doing was not illegal, it's not like you can sue them to get your money back. So I have heard arguments for making that work, that it can work if you're careful and you're strategic about it. Personally, I do not recommend it, but I just want to make you aware that that is technically an option. All right, how to give backlinks, because again, you want to give to get. You also want to give, like I said, just to position yourself as an expert in your industry. If you are saying, hey, if you want more information about this, go to this website over here. Especially, like I said, Andy Crestodina, I use all the time as a reference to say, look, I'm not making this up. The data's right here. That kind of thing. So always give backlinks. As long as it's relevant, don't just give a backlink for the sake of giving a backlink. Check for quality. It needs to be high quality. Highlight keywords. So you highlight a certain amount of text. That's what we call the anchor text. That's why I said highlight, because not everyone knows what anchor text is. So the text that people click on to get to that other page or that other website, that's called your anchor text. If you anchor, you use keywords in that anchor text. So for example, blogging survey or blogging stats is maybe something I want to use as anchor text when you referencing Andy Crestodina's latest survey results. That is something that I would anchor and I would use as anchor text because that is going to be a really good keyword for him. And that's also going to make me look smarter and make me look better to Google. So make sure that you are doing that, especially with those internal backlinks. And then, like I said, use content partnerships wisely. You can use them, just make sure you're not using them exclusively. It should not be your only source of backlinks. How can you tell if you have a good backlink opportunity? And this counts for both backlinks that you are getting as well as backlinks that you are receiving or hoping to receive. Keywords appear in the target URL. They appear in the title. They appear in the body of the text, but not too many times. We don't want keyword stuffing. Is the page type relevant? Is it a social network or a blog or a forum or a landing page? Make sure it's relevant, right? So for example, on your website, you might have a lot of links, internal backlinks leading from, say, a blog post to a landing page. That makes a lot of sense as a call to action, right? It could also lead from a blog post to another blog post. That's not to, close the deal on that. that lead, but it could be, again, providing more information and once again, setting yourself up as an expert in your industry. Is it a competitor? I tend to be more collaborative than competitive and believe, have an abundance mentality. So I think, look, if someone else is talking about what I'm talking about and they're good at it, and you know, I think they deserve some attention, I will absolutely give them a backlink. Other people are like, no, no, don't give a backlink to a competitor. You're basically just driving traffic away from your website. And that's true. So I'm just going to let you know that that is an issue to be aware of. You can make your own decision on that. Is the text human generated right now that we have this AI everywhere? It should it should be obvious if the text is quality text or if it looks like it was completely written by a robot. Um, Obviously there's no way to tell for sure if they were using AI, but you can tell pretty obviously if it looks like quality content versus generic trash. Uh, does the blog have recent blog posts? Google does prioritize newer content over older content because it assumes that newer content is more relevant. And I completely forgot to silence my phone. I am so sorry, you guys. So absolutely make sure that you have your phone silenced. That it has recent blog posts. So if you are linking to a blog post, it can be an older blog post if it's evergreen, as long as it's still relevant. But if it's about a recent topic and it's not a recent blog post, or it's about something that was really timely a year or two ago and no one cares about it anymore, then that's something to consider. Are the grammar and spelling correct? You might be surprised how big an effect that has, is whether the grammar and spelling are correct. People do check for that. And honestly, as many as like just one or two mistakes can turn people away. So as much as you can, make sure it's grammatically correct and the spelling is all correct. Are the web design and images high quality, and is there quality content about recent industry news and developments? So you want to look out for all of those things. Any questions, reach out. This this is normally the time in the webinar when I would take questions from the attendees. And because my internet refused to cooperate, you're just going to have to reach out to me. So that is all of my contact information, phone number, email, calendar link, and my website where you can get more information. So please, please, please reach out if you have any questions at all. And again, I'm so sorry that my internet did not want to cooperate, but gotta love technology, right? So thank you so much, everyone, for bearing with me and for watching this recording. And please, please reach out if you have any questions at all. Have a great day and happy blogging.